Hi, welcome to A Foreigner in the Philippines. Well, one of the subjects that I think is quite important if you are well, especially if you're running a channel, that's for sure, was brought up in a question by midlife crisis. That's the username is a midlife crisis, and he asked the question, and I haven't been able to get to it and probably won't, so I thought I'd do a video on it, because by the time we get up to Taliban and go online, I may as well just have done a video on it, because it's an important subject. So what's the subject? He says, have you found that attacks have lessened at all of late? Because they got so bad that I actually went off YouTube for a while. So here's a situation where when you are running something creative, then you will get attacks. Now, we had to learn this very, very fast when we first started, because when Beth and I first started doing our vlog, we made up our minds that we would, you know, after looking at various different channels, we noticed a lot of complaining. There was what I thought was a lot of Filipino bashing, and how bad life is in the Philippines, that you can't get anything done, and there's a lot of corruption, and there's there's this and that and the other, and I used to, boy, by the time that I clicked off, I felt brought down by that channel, and I'm thinking, oh, wait a minute, why did I look at that? And it was to feel better, to be entertained, hopefully to smile, even to cry a little, because that's not always a bad thing, because it means you've been emotionally touched. So we made up our mind that we would go on and do a feel-good, where the motivation behind everything that we did was to actually feel good. Now, if we showed someone in a desperate situation that we were going to help, it was to show that help could be found and that those people could have their lives changed. That's why we did what we did, right? So the question of have the attacks lessened? What I found is that they come in waves. We reached a point when we first started, boy, the attacks were insane. People were going in and they were I'm trying to do a video over somebody who is singing. Are you planning on doing anything, my dear?
I'm going. I just finished my laundry.
See what I mean? The attacks are endless. So we had a lot of attacks, and people were taking out as fast as we could delete or block. They would create another fake name and post more attacks. Now, what this is a little bit like doing is lighting little fires everywhere, and then the person that you are attacking has to just keep going and putting out fires, and that's the expression. So you can keep them busy by just doing this and that and the other and this again and that again and the other twice, and you can destroy their motivation. You can destroy their drive to do whatever they're doing. What's the answer? Here's the more important point, is what is the answer? And the answer is you rely on the fact that people are not stupid. Right now, our subscribers have proved to be incredibly loyal, incredibly honest, incredibly supportive, just wonderful people. I think 98% of the people that we have made as subscribers I would love to have as friends. Doesn't that say something? Now, what about the rest? What about the attacks? Well, the attacks are going to happen whatever you do. Right, now, when an attack comes, it's a cyber attack. Can they do any damage? Sometimes I think that they can do. And sometimes if they're saying things which are outright untrue, then you might have to respond to that. Now, here's the thing, that attacks come in different qualities. Not all attacks are the same. We have some people who just keep waffling on about something that they see. We had one, and this is one level of what I think of as a troll. Your mother doesn't know how to cook spam. Your cats look as if they're starving, and your wife should put her feet on the floor. Well, before we blocked that person, I actually answered it and said, my gosh, you must be having a terrible day. And it's true. But they can go and have a terrible day on somebody else's channel. That's what we ended up doing. So there's pros and cons between blocking as opposed to just deleting. Now, if you've got the luxury of instant Wi-Fi, if you go to your computer and are instantly online, then deleting is a way to go until the attacker reveals themselves completely, and then you get rid of them. Now, that was what Midlife Crisis said. He said, it doesn't seem so bad after a while. He said, but that's probably because I deleted so many people. Yeah, that's what you can do. Now, here's the other thing, is that as I said, you can meet such great people, and some of them you would be willing, if the circumstances allowed, to have them as good friends. Of course, thousands of miles between you and them makes that difficult. But in a few cases, we have made great friends. And one likes to be anonymous, so Little Bit Rich. And if you've seen any of our other videos, you'll know that Little Bit Rich is a man who has supported us greatly. Not just financially, but as a friend and an advisor. And I've listened to him and continue to listen to him very carefully. Now, he said, the other person, I mentioned that someone was now copying what we were doing and had been copying for some time. This particular attacker is another level of attacker. He's not just someone who is doing a little. This is someone who's doing a lot. Now, what happens? Goes around and makes videos of everything that we've already made videos of. So I'm not quite sure. Came up to our house, and while we were away, knowing that we were away, came up and made a video. And for all I know, he was out at the clothesline sniffing my underwear. How do I know? These people have a different kind of life to what ordinary creative people have, and so I mentioned this to my friend Little Bit Rich, and he said, let him have his fun. You are defined by the quality of the support that you get and the projects that you do all the time. Now, in the few months that we have been on, we are now on our 13th house. Now, in the Philippines, that works out to be hundreds of people affected, benefited. So that operations paid for, surgical help. We're digging wells. Of course, it's not me, it's not Beth. We're not the heroes, as I've said many times. We're not the heroes. We are defined by the support, and that means the people that choose to help us, empower us to do what we do. So here's what you do midlife crisis, you get on and you do what you do and don't look back. So, if you were in a race, and a race is a tough thing because it's competitive, if you were in a race and someone had cramp and couldn't continue running, you would not look back. You would do what you were there to do, which is to win. Now, in our case, it's not a question of winning, and probably midlife crisis, in your case, it's not a question of winning, it's a question of doing what you want to do. So, here's what you do, if I might suggest. You sit down, and if you work with your wife, or you work with a friend, or you work alone, think it through. What am I doing? What do I want to achieve? Who do I want to help? Who do I want to benefit? Who do I want to change the life of? And then when you decide that, all action is based on whether it will further that goal or not. Now, if it's not, well, you don't deal with it, right? If you are a baseball coach and somebody comes to you and says, I really want you to teach me basketball, you say, go somewhere else, I'm a baseball coach. If someone comes up and says, but I'm a great footballer to be, you say, find a football coach. And when they say, why won't you help me? You say, my purpose is to be a baseball coach, and that's what I do. And anything else is a hindrance, anything else is looking back, anything else is not part of my mission. Find someone whose mission is in line with your need, is what you would tell them. And that's what you should probably be doing. Now, anything else, think of all of the attacks as just little nobodies working from armchair theatres and trying to stop you from doing what you're doing. Now, why are they doing that? Because you're a threat. That's why. Because you are doing something which they think is a danger to them. And that's the fact. If you're helping someone and they are unable to help anybody, you're a threat. Difficult to actually get this one, but helping someone else can be a threat to another. Because if people are being helped, it changes things in a way that they may not understand. It changes things in a way that you... So think through what you're doing. Make up your mind what it is that you want to achieve. That becomes your mission. And when you know what you want to do and what your mission is, get on and do it. And the rest is just crap. You don't have to deal with it. Right? In other words, if you're a baseball coach, it's not your problem whether people have a soccer coach or, I don't know, a playing pool, if they're getting or tennis coach. Those are not your issues. And when they come in, you simply say, no. And that's all that you do. So you make up your mind, whatever is your patch, you stake your claim, and remember this. Power, one definition of power is the ability to hold your position. A very good friend of mine said, you can be the island or you can be the water. And the water can be moved, the island just stays there. Hold your position. If you are a midlife crisis, then that's who you be. And that's really possibly all. It simplifies things so incredibly. If it's not your business, then you just move on. No, sorry, we don't do that. If you were a storekeeper, I mean, just think about the parallels that are so easy to find, the examples. If you were a storekeeper and you were selling fish, and somebody came and said, I want 4 pounds of crab, they said, we don't sell crab, we only sell fish. And that would be the end of the conversation. You wouldn't start saying, what kind of crab do you want? Is that freshwater crab? Or, sorry, we don't do crab. Right? If you were selling, I don't know, if you were a bakery and somebody came along and wanted a kilo of pork, you would say, sorry, we're a bakery. What's the matter with you? We're a bakery. See, you find out what you want to do, and then once you find out what you want to do, God, life becomes incredibly simple. You just do it. And that's it. That's when we discovered that what we're trying to do is make people feel good, show the world, such as our little world is, that help is available, to give that help without judgment, to give that help without trying to say, wait a minute, do you deserve this help? No, we don't do that. We look at the situation. If help is needed and we can do it, we just do it. We're selling fish, don't ask us for pork. If it's a sports shop, don't ask us to repair your shoes. It's so simple, really, as soon as you decide what you want to do and what you want to achieve. And then anybody else who starts coming in and saying, well, you're selling fish, you should be selling, why aren't you repairing shoes? Sorry, we sell fish. Well, why aren't you teaching people how to play tennis? Nothing. All of these things are nothing to do with you. They're nothing to do with me. If somebody comes up and asks me a stupid question now, we just delete it. And it takes them much longer to write that and to change their name so they can write it again. And we just delete it and we get on with what we do. This is a foreigner in the Philippines. Thanks for looking in. Hope you're doing what you want to do. Good or bad, get on with it.